911?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, from the time you terminated your phone call with Michael Amir to the time you called 911, in that period of time, is that when these events took place that you've described?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So that was a very short period of time. Is that fair to say?
It was a fast period of time, I would say. Yes, sir.
Separating what the observations you made, the observations of Mr. Jackson laying on the bed with his palms up, the observations of the condom catheter, and the observations, for example, of the IV stand. Were these isolated observations, or were these observations you were making simultaneously to these events taking place?
Sustained.
Were these observations, you can answer yes or no, were these observations made simultaneously to these, talking about the large propofol bottle inside the saline bag and you placing that in the bag, the other bag, at Conrad Murray's instruction? After these events took place that you've been describing before the break, at that time, did Conrad Murray instruct you to call 911?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall what his exact words were?
He said, call 911.
Okay. And do you know from your phone records that that call was placed by you at 12:20 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've reviewed your phone records?
Correct.
Okay. And that call is reflected in People's 26. The bottom of People's 26, 12:20, Alberto Alvarez calling 911 emergency operator, 163 seconds. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And during this short period of time, would this be the period of time that you ushered Paris and Prince out of the room?
Yes.
Okay. Put up the grocery bag into which Dr. Murray dropped the vials and then put that into another bag?
Yes.
And took the saline bag with the propofol bottle in it off the IV stand and placed into another bag?
That's correct, sir.
Are those, following those events, and you've described them in detail earlier, following those events, is that when you called 911?
Yes, sir.
Okay. During these events, you're obviously aware that this was an emergency situation?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Were you moving quickly?
Yes, sir, I was.
And were you obeying Dr. Murray's instructions?
Yes, I was.
Now, when you called 911 per Dr. Murray's instructions at 12:20 p.m., did you relay to the 911 operators what you had observed and what you were observing at that very moment?
That's correct.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time I'd like to play the 911 call. With the court's permission, I'd ask that the CD of the 911 call be marked Peoples 31 for identification. I'd also ask that the transcript of the 911 call be marked Peoples 32 for identification.
They are marked.
Defense counsel has a copy. With the court's permission, may I hand these out to the jurors?
No objection. Thank you. You may. Ladies and gentlemen, each one of you now will receive your own copy of People's 32. When you get People's 32, put People's 32 on that document, and as before, put your seat number on it and circle your seat number. So it's People's 32 on the document as well as your seat number. Thanks. Perhaps you may want to give a transcript to Mr. Alvarez.
Yes. And the court?
And me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The counsel stipulate that Mrs. Theodoro need not transcribe. Mr. Chernoff?
I do.
Mr. Walgren?
Yes, Your Honor.
Stipulations accepted. Ladies and gentlemen, do each of you have your own copy? I think it's still being passed out. Okay. It's People's 32. One moment, please. People's 32. Does every juror and alternate have a copy? Yes? Nate, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as I indicated once before, the actual exhibit is People's 31, which is the CD of any recording. People's 32 is a transcript prepared by somebody else. Use it only as a guide. If you happen to hear something differently from what is transcribed, rely upon your own recollection and your own determination of the facts. Thanks. Mr. Walker.
Thank you, and I'm now going to play the 911 call.
Yes, I want to know. Report an emergency?
Okay, where?
100 North Calwood Drive.
Okay, within LA?
Yes.
Okay, will you replace it for that?
No, paramedics. As soon as possible, please.
You said everything fine, then you have to cancel it, okay?
Yes, as soon as possible,
I'm
please.
trying to work it
Yes, sir. I need an ambulance as soon as possible, sir.
Okay, sir, what's your address?
It's 100 North Carrollwood Drive, Los Angeles, California, 90077.
Is it Carrollwood?
Carrollwood Drive, yes. Yes.
Okay, sir, what's the phone number you're calling from?
Area code 909-273-4846.
Okay, sir, and what's the problem with that?
Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not.
Okay, how old is
He's 50 years old, sir.
50? Okay. He's unconscious, he's not breathing?
Yes, he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, and it's not conscious,
He's not conscious, sir.
Okay. Alright, you have anybody, is he on the floor? Where's he at right now?
He's on the bed, sir. He's on the
Okay,
bed.
let's get him on the floor.
Okay?
Okay, let's get him down to the floor. I'm gonna have to do CPR right now, okay?
We need him. We need a
Yes, where are you on our way there? Where are you? I'm listening to this budget, can I help you over the phone? Where are you on our way? Did anybody see him?
Yes, we have a personal doctor here with him, sir.
Oh, you got a doctor there?
Yes, but he's not responding to anything, sir. No, he's not responding to CPR or anything, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, we're on our way there. If your guys do a CPR, you're instructed by doctor, there's a higher authority than me. And you're there on scene.
Okay.
Was anybody witness what happened?
No, just the doctor, sir. The doctor's been the only one here.
Okay, so did the doctor see what happened?
Doctor, did you see what happened, sir? Sir, you just, if you
We're on our way. I'll just pass these questions on about paramedics while they're on the way there, sir.
thank you, sir. He's pumping his chest, but he's not responding to anything, sir. Please.
Okay, we're on our way. We're about a mile away. We'll be there shortly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Call the back. Give me up. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That concludes the playing of the Exhibit 31.
May I resume, Your Honor?
You may.
Mr. Alvarez, was that your voice?
Yes, sir.
Is that difficult to hear?
It is.
And that was you relaying the address and the information, and that Michael Jackson was at that time on the bed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Conrad Murray at that time was still attempting CPR, according to the recording? Now, at that time, to your recollection, was Michael Jackson removed from the bed to the floor?
Yes, sir, that's correct.